welcome to Mama Knits. I am recording here from the south of England on the coast, where I live with my husband and my 2 children and 2 cats. You'll never see the cats, they're off, out and about. I've been gone a really long time. I'm really sorry. Sorry? No, I've just been busy. I'm not, work and other things have got in the way. A little bit of knitting has been going on still, so I will talk about the knitting that I have been doing. But I have been gone a while. Various reasons. I think sometimes if you set yourself certain goals and certain expectations, I'm one of those people that I push myself too far and then realise I can't finish the goal. So I need to make sure my goal setting is slightly smaller and more specific. So that is another goal. Even though I've been gone a long time, it doesn't mean I have disappeared, and you can still, hopefully you've still been keeping up with me on Instagram, because I have been adding pictures on there. So on Instagram I am Mama Knits, and also on Ravelry, so you can still see what I'm up to. I've tried to be in Ravelry a little bit, but also again, it's another platform to work with, another platform to get to grips with. So I'm still finding my way around making sure Ravelry works, but I am also aware that lots of people don't read show notes on Ravelry anyway, so I'll try and make sure I put that in the down bar down below and get myself a little bit more organised. So where have I got to? I have apologised for being gone a long time, and I think lots of us feel this, that if we're trying to do a hobby and do our job, which takes precedent, and unfortunately this last 3 months work has had to take precedent. It's a very busy time in my work schedule, and so I've been feeling guilty if I've been knitting when I should be doing my work for my job, so I've kind of let the podcast side of my knitting fall away while I focused on my job, so I'm not feeling quite so guilty for not doing the work for my job, which obviously I get paid for, and I don't get paid for this, so job should come first. However much I want my downtime, that is an important part of it. But also I think I left myself with lots of plans and lots of ideas, and the idea of knitting mindfulness, which I still completely, I use it all the time, and I use my knitting to help me become more mindful and not get stressed with my job or with doing this podcast. But I think I set too big a goal of trying to create a place where we could work through the mindfulness book together, and I hadn't quite worked out exactly how I was going to do that. So hopefully in the future I will do a better review and work through that book. But at this moment in time, that's not going to happen. So I apologise. I hope people have bought the Knitting Mindfulness book by Rachel Matthews. I know my brother-in-law actually met Rachel Matthews in Brighton through his university course. So that was quite exciting. I was like, I really want to meet that woman. So that was really cool. So we meet people on different journeys, and he's an artist, not a crafter, so it was quite exciting that he'd met her through that creative network of people, which is always important. I think that's what this podcast brings to us, is that creativity, and I hope that through that I encourage people to talk to other creatives and get exciting about that. I've just started this podcast and realised I haven't brought everything down with me. I haven't brought anything that I've knitted, so I'm going to disappear for a moment and go and get the things that I actually need, the things that I've worked on, rather than the things that I'm working on, because obviously the things I'm working on are right next to me. But I've just realised I've forgotten stuff. So I'll be back. See you soon. Well, that was a diversion. A little bit of a change, a little bit of a twist. So what have I knitted? As I said, I have actually been I have been knitting. Not as much as I'd normally be knitting, because I've also been using computers a lot and doing other things that I meant to have done. but that's all over now, yay. And many other people in the same profession with me will be going, yay, as well, because it does take up a lot of extra time on top of our normal job. And so that's kind of part of the problem. And I'm not very good at delegating my time. I have zero time management skills. Always had zero time management skills. I'm lastminute.com, which I must get better at. But anyway, maybe it's too late. So what have I knitted? Well, I joined the Shawl Society 2 and signed up to that by Curious Handmade. Just because other people were? Was that the wrong reason to do it? I don't know. I didn't do it last year, so I thought I really want to do it this year. And I have made the Fairy Hill shawl, so that's the number 1. So here is, oh, if I sit back a bit, here is my Fairy Hill. I haven't got any beads. Let me rephrase that. There are no beads on my Fairy Hill shawl because I didn't have any beads, and I decided I wanted to make it, so I couldn't bother to wait to go and get beads. Is that, it's not really fair enough at all. So I still want to do beading, especially as when I was talking to one of my knitting friends, she said how easy it was. I was like, I need to do it. So that's still on my list of things to do. This has been knitted in Bahram Muse Titus. No idea what colour. You see, this is why I'm not very good at podcasting at the moment. I've got to get back in the flow. And the bottom colour bit is Whistle Bear, their mohair sock base. And so the reason I chose those two is because they were 2 similar weight yarns. So they're both just a little bit thicker than 4-ply. And so I knew I had to put them together. I mean, they're called a 4-ply, but compared to a high twist 4-ply, these are not the same. Hence those, and I thought the colours went quite nicely together. Though I have just watched Little Bobbin's latest podcast, and she very cleverly, I wish I'd had the brain space to do it, but she has done more repeats on the lace end lace panel, and I think that's really what mine needs. So it was a bit longer, but it's still beautiful and it's a lovely pattern, despite my mistake. Oh, can you see it? I kind of thought you can see it because I'm pointing it out, but and it looks okay because I managed to not have them make it into something. But it's been too hot to wear it, so it's just been sat on the side, and I can't decide it's my colour or not. I obviously bought the yarn thinking it was my colour, but that may be gifted. I don't know. It may be gifted. Oh, and thankfully now that kind of knitter, I've got so many knitted things that I don't have to keep knitting for myself. So I can start thinking, oh, that could be given to someone else. I'm thinking it's kind of my godmother's colours, so I don't know. If you want to get in contact with me, that may come winging its way to you. So that was the Fairy Hill shawl. The other thing that I have knitted, but it's not quite finished. So I've just been working on. So when I had no brain power and I just knew I wanted to knit something, I started knitting two at a time. Socks. But you might notice something. They are just long tubes. They have no heels. So at some point I have to finish them. So they're not actually a knitted complete item because they've not been finished, because they have no heels. So I need to do an afterthought heel. But again, as you can imagine, my brain space for knitting has been reduced quite dramatically, and I just couldn't get my head around doing it. But what I did do, I did do a rounded toe, which I quite like. And I used my Lara Neal sock architecture book to do that. And I know the Afterthought heel is in her sock architecture book too. So I am, or I believe it is. I thought I found it in there. So they need to be finished. But they were knit in Starcraft's sock yarn. Is that head over heels? Maybe not. Give me a moment. Yeah, so it's their head over heels Starcraft yarn. What colourway? No idea. The one I'm holding is Fuji. Oh. No, I just thought maybe there was a yarn band behind me in amongst my chaos. It needs tidying up. It will get tidied up sometime, some point, maybe. The desk is clear now though. That was stacked high. So if you can see behind, no, you can't see behind me. But I couldn't even put things, I was literally just adding things to the pile. So, I'm quite proud of myself. I've done some tidying up. Oh, creative minds, scatty brains. Red. I did have an amazing collection of red mugs, but they slowly got broken. So this is my last one. Oh no, that's a lie. I've got one with an A on it, and that's got some red in it too. So I need to develop my collection again. But I am still knitting, obviously. So you might have seen, let's go with this one. You might have seen on Instagram that I decided to make the Vera Velimäki's True Friend jumper. Now I was going to do her other one. I'll come back to you with what that one is. But I then sort of flicked through my old favourites on in Ravelry, the little ones that you heart and say I'd quite like to do this, and realised that actually the True Friend was the one that was sitting on my to-do list a little bit more. Now, because when I looked at the image of the photograph on it, I found that the neck was really wide. Well, I don't want such a wide neck, so I did my neck, so it will be narrower, on a smaller needle. So I did that on a 2.75 needle. And there is also another reason for that, because which I'll talk about a little bit more, but I got Chiago Twist, and this is in the larger, well, it's the medium-sized needles to the large needles. So it started at 2.75, and they don't have a 3mm in the pack, which is what the pattern asked for. So I thought, don't worry about that. I'll do it in the smaller one, because it will also make it tighter. And I don't want, and I'm sure when Danny from Little Bobbins did it, she had the same problem, that the neck ended up being too wide, and I knew I didn't want that. And the rest of the body is knit on a 3.5mm. It is the most delightful construction. So if you're looking for a jumper that's not created in the normal way, and you like a little bit of a challenge to read a pattern, it's great. So it works with a kind of a panel, and then I'm working. And see, this is it when you work on a smaller circular, which is great to work on because everything stays nice and tight. It's all a bit bolted together, but you can see there is this lovely stripe running through it. And unusual for me, a slightly more neutral shade, but I realised actually I quite like that neutral with the pops of colour. So if you can see that sort of stripe happening. Now that's the main part of it, I'm knitting in some Drops Flora. So that's the main part, is on Drops Flora, which was, I think it was a warehouse with a reduction, I know. But sometimes you need to do that so that you can make bigger items, because then this beautiful skein is by John of Easy Knits, and it is something that I think I picked up from a yarn festival. Now, I'm not sure whether this was Unravel last year, but Mummy and I both bought some similar. I'm sure this was the one we bought that was similar. But I loved the fact that it was that beige colour, which matched the drops, which matched the Flora brown. I don't know if the light's it's a bit too glary on it. And then it has these amazing shots of a hot pink. Is that hot pink and that golden ochre yellow, and there's a few flecks of black in there as well, which just makes a really lovely contrasting stripe, and it's subtle, it's not, you know, it's not really bold and throw it out there, which I really liked. Loving this. I think I started 2 weeks ago and I've knit loads. It is really mindless knit, which is so what I needed at the moment, and I'm just knitting round and round and round. But I have done a magical knitter thing. I'm really bad. I've realised I used to be able to remember everything that I was doing, and as I've got older, I don't even know whether it's because I've got older, I don't know. Now I'm starting to do more things at once. I've realised this, having a notebook, is so important. Red as well, red and gold, my colours. And so I started to make sure I got a notebook, and rather than a piece of paper, I used to do this on a scrap of paper, or I'd write it in my phone and then forget where I put it, and I didn't know where I was. So now I know exactly where I am. That has made a huge difference, and it helped with the Fairy Hill shawl. And I think it's sort of encouraged when I work with the Curious Handmade patterns, because they give you every row and a percentage where they are. Now, when I've tried writing beginner knitting patterns, I've given every row, but I haven't ever thought about doing that percentage. I think that's a really clever idea. I've no idea how you work it out. So I think that's amazing. Truly amazing. That is maths gone wild. Maths for knitters, crazy, crazy, which is really cool. One day I'll be able to work it out, but at the moment not. But I thought that was great, and I think that's really encouraged me to make sure I record every row that I'm on, so I can put things down and go on to something else, so I don't have to be truly monogamous on my knitting. So, which is always kind of a bonus. Is that helpful? Yeah, I like to try different things. Well, I didn't mention, obviously, that's knit on my Chiago twists, which are in this lovely pouch. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, because I'm still knitting. So what else have I been knitting? Well, here in my Doctor Who bag, not that what's in it is anything to do with Doctor Who, I just like my Doctor Who bag. It's a really nice bag. It's really soft and squishes up. And I got that from the Yarn Tree, and she did a bag and a skein of yarn on Etsy, the Yarn Tree. And she does lots of themes, dyes up themes and things, which I quite like. But in here is a very squished skein of amazing Mirasol yarn, which is alpaca, silk and nylon, I think. Again, I've unwound it and I haven't gotten any. You see, I'm not what. Blah, 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 blah. I've not been starting these thinking about podcasting, so I haven't kept all my labels together. But I am knitting. You might be able to recognise the pattern. The Apple Blossom socks. Again, another Curious Handmade pattern. And I'm knitting on teeny needles. So these are Chiago 9-inch circulars that I got from Edinburgh. I think I showed you a sock that I was working on before. It's been frogged because I wasn't happy with it. And my doorbell's just about to ring, so I'm just going to close this. Oh, back again, back again. I can see a cat coming in now as well. Oh yeah, so I'm working on these tiny 9-inch circulars, which are Chiago's, 2.5mm needle, and I'm not saying I'm loving working on the smaller, especially now I'm at the heel. It's getting a little bit tricky, but knitting the leg was great. Zoomed through that part, and I kind of delayed doing my heel turn, but we'll see how I get on. I may switch to magic loop to do the heel and then go back to it. But what is great about them is they just hold that shape really nicely. No twists, no kinks or anything. So I like the needles. I'm loving the pattern. Oh, I should say that. Absolutely loving the pattern. I love. Really easy to follow. Especially when my brain goes completely blank and I can't remember what I'm doing. So it's been easy to pick up, easy to read my knitting on it as well, so I can see where I am. Even if I've forgotten to write down a bit of the pattern, you can count back up really easily. So thoroughly enjoying working on those socks. So that's about unusual. That's a jumper and socks is all I'm working on. You're probably shouting, why have you not done the second Shawl Society shawl, which is called the Sprites Fen Shawl? I don't know, because I haven't. That's pretty much it. I've got a small child. Well, she's not a small child, big child looking at the door. What's the problem?
I failed at my game.
Okay.
I was in the top 3 places and
No.
I'm really sad.
Something about a game. Grandma, you need to come and talk to her. I don't know. I can't. They spend so much time on computers that I want them to stop, and then, but I want to do something like this, and so they say I'm on a computer, so I can't. How do you balance it? Any ideas? Parenting gifts, parenting comments would be greatly. Don't give me parenting tips, please don't. But I do want to do the next Shawl Society, and I'm thinking about colours as well, because it takes 3 skeins of 4-ply yarn, and I have a grey and a mustard yellow cascade, and I'm thinking of mixing it in with, what was I thinking of mixing in? I can't remember, but thinking of mixing it in with maybe a whitish kind of colour. So there might be a shawl on my needles next time I podcast, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. So yeah, deepest apologies. So what is to be knitted? And I'm actually screaming for advice here. I am way behind on the Inside number 23 Harry Potter knit along. The last thing I uploaded was in February, and that was my Owligan, which I took to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I have, my brain's gone to fuzz. I have just watched, before I wrote my notes, no, after I wrote my notes, I was looking at, again, sorry, I have just watched Little Bobbins, Danny of Little Bobbins, and she has done a pair of scrappy socks, and I have got some Fantastic Beasts mini skeins from Mother of Pearl, which are actually just there. Yeah, there. Those up sort of falling out here. Oh, falling out over here. And all those up there. Can't see what I'm doing up there. They are all Fantastic Beasts colourways. So I could do a pair of scrappy socks. So that's one idea. But I need some more. Or tell me some yarn dyers or patterns that you think I could use for the Harry Potter knit along. What I have been doing though, which is completely not knitting related, but I have read the first 4 Harry Potter books since Christmas. So I'm definitely on the way to completing the Harry Potter series by the end of the year. So that's 20 years from the publish of the first book, and I've read 4 of them. So I'm quite impressed with that, especially with other things going on. I've still managed to make sure I've read those books. So I'm pleased with so many other things going on, and yeah, I say. So, that's the best part. Inspiration. So my inspiration all comes because actually it was my birthday at the end of May. We're in July now. And I haven't shared any, really, I've just put a few Instagram posts, but I haven't really shared any of the amazing gifts that I've received and amazing family support that I have for my knitting obsession. I'm very lucky that my mummy is as knit obsessed as I am. So I think our family is very tolerant of our crafty behaviour, and both my sister-in-laws also get that crafty bug as well. So it's, oh, apparently I've got my eldest saying it was her birthday too. I'm not going to show you any of her birthday presents though, because I just don't think you're going to want to see them. I'll show you mine. So where do I start? Well, I'm going to start with the awesome present. And I had no idea that would be so big. I mean, I know people say that blocking wires are long, but they are, thankfully, in a nice tube though. Need to get better at doing it. I blocked the Fairy Hill shawl with them, but realised I need a better technique. My technique is not quite right, but also it was a curve, so that's more challenging to do anyway. But I'm really pleased with them because that was something that when I was blocking a test knit, I realised I didn't give the test knit credit. It wasn't nice and straight, which it would be if I'd used blocking wires. So that was amazing, but a skill that I need to work on and practice on. My total out of the blue gift, which is absolutely fantabulous, is this yarn bowl. No, you need to see the face. Look at that face. So gorgeous. So a double ball yarn bowl. Use holes wherever you like. And this is by ebsworthpots.com, and she's a Welsh potter, I believe. And this was, I love the story that went with this. Someone that works with my brother had ordered a yarn bowl. And my brother went, I know exactly who wants one of those. Isn't that amazing? It's inspiration at work for your sister who likes to knit. But beautiful, and I'm using it for, it's not in there now, but I'm using it for my true friend jumper when I'm knitting at home. Love it, love it. I may even start collecting yarn bowls now, because that's now my second. Love it. I've already started talking about, so the Chiago Twist, which are Chiago's interchangeable set. So inside you can see, obviously I've got a set of needles I'm using at the moment, but they go all the way up to a 10mm, which is fantastic. So some chunky knitting, which my Knit Pros, I've only got up to a 9, and so I've done a lot of, if I've gone to something bulkier, quicker knit, I've had to use straights, so that's really good. And the cables are amazing. They are. So even though they're all squished up like this, when you get them out, I can. See if I can just get one out. You can see there's no kinks. Yeah, it's been sat in that whereas after a while my Knit Pros have got kinks in them, especially my Magic Loop ones, and they've got that little Magic Loop kink in them, and actually that's beginning to really tickle me off. Now the only thing with this set is that it hasn't got the smaller sizes, so that is still to be purchased probably over the summer. I'm going to get the smaller sock size set so that I can work on the smaller ones. But I love the little pouch that it comes in. And I just, yeah, generally I was very, very pleased. Quite an exciting present. Oh, I'm put everything away. But what birthday is not complete without some yarn? So where do I start with yarn? I'll just go through what in the order that I got it in. So here is one of my skeins, was a Stranded Dye Works Oasis in her Anti-Valentine. And this is a 75-25 merino, superwash merino nylon fingering weight, 425 meters. But look at this amazing black, but it's actually like shots of pink through it. Now I've got a kind of a red with shots of black through it. I'm slightly thinking that I might do a Find Your Fade, So Faded jumper in with a bit of this, my black and red, and as close to pure red. Oh, like quite a nice reds, red and black, black and pink, and maybe then a shot of pink at the end maybe. But beautiful, beautiful skein of yarn. Really, really scrummy. And then I got some more. So this one is Rhapsody yarns. This is 100% superwash merino, and it's 100 grams of DK weight, and it's called Nimrod. And I love the way this starts, this really bright yellow and grey, and then it fades into really soft, sorry, that the sunlight's kind of in the wrong place, sorry, a softer, paler yellow in DK. I think that's probably going to end up as either a hat or a mix in with, I've got this pale colour, can you see up behind me, Where is it? No, I think it's up higher. Yeah, right at the top, but I've got some DK weight in this kind of paler colour further up, so I might use that to sort of do a stripe in a DK jumper, cardigan, not sure, but that's awesome. And then this one, this is my youngest daughter chose this, and I just think it's her to a T. So it probably won't even end up being something for me. But this is by Shani's Yarnies. I did like that name, Shani's Yarnies. And this is a merino nylon blend, sock weight yarn, 425 meters, and this is the bit that made me giggle. It's called Violet Unicorn Poop. Violet Unicorn Poop. That was just my youngest. I think that's probably the bit that sold her. But it's got this amazing, and in fact, actually, it's coming out a lot more violet on the screen, but it's actually it's a bluer. No, it's still not quite right. It's definitely a bluer purple than it's showing, but it has this amazing rainbow shriek through it. So that's going to be really exciting to knit up, but I've got a feeling it's going to end up being socks for someone else, because I think she's already decided that. It's probably why she chose it and to give it to me as a birthday present, because she'd quite like it. But there's nothing wrong with that. I think you should always give gifts that you like, because if you like it and appreciate it, then the person who receives it will see your excitement in giving it to them, and they will also like it. That's my theory. I like that one. So, didn't mean to go for so long. I'm back. I'll try and be back. I'm about to say every 2 weeks, which might be possible because I've got 2 more weeks left till we have our slightly longer summer break. So that should be exciting. And I have, hopefully there'll be some more yarny goodness to show you and share with you, and maybe some other finished objects. Thank you for coming and joining me, especially those people. I know even though I've been gone for a while, people have still been subscribing, which has been absolutely amazing. So thank you for watching my past episodes and still want to see more. That's fabulous. Thank you ever so much. That's made my, it's made my days when I've been chugging along with work and feeling a bit down about it, and then suddenly upping someone who wants to subscribe and listen to me, which was fab. So there's been the other pressure that I've been thinking I must record something because I'm letting people down. So I am trying to juggle lots of different things, and I don't want to talk about those things. That's not what this is all about, and I don't want that to be that. I want this all to be purely knitting, purely excitement about knitting. So I'm doing that looking out the window thing. I need to live in a quieter street. But it's a pleasure to be able to share my passion and my interest and all those things that I enjoy, and I think lots of people out there do as well. And being able to listen to others talk about it, I know people feel inspired. It brings them closer to the world of knitting, especially if you don't have a knitting group that you can go to. I have a knitting group that I can go to, but I haven't been going to because I've been so busy and so tired at the end of work that to then go and spend 3 hours knitting was just not going to happen. But the other part of that is I did pop in on Saturday to my local yarn shop, and there were some of my group there, and we realised how much, even if we don't see each other every week, how much we're still looking out for each other, and there's so much love and so much care that goes on in that group, and it's like another family. And I do have my own family that I see and love, but it's nice to have those other passions and share that with each other and look after each other and help each other out. I don't really know what else I have to say. I don't want to keep rambling. I'm beginning to chitter chatter, and as I've made lots of breaks in this, I'm going to have to spend a bit of time editing it back together. But thank you so much for joining me on what feels like a long hiatus from my last episode, and I will endeavour to do my best to get back into a more frequent pattern, especially as I only just started this in January. So the fact that I've got out of whack so quickly is, I will do my best. And maybe next time I'll put on some makeup. Maybe. Never know. Anyway, all I can say is enjoy the wonderful weather that we've got in the UK at the moment if you're in the UK. Love your family, love your friends, and knit on.